maybe what were the things that you liked, the things maybe to work on? How did you review that game?
Yeah, the week was great. The lads, the application, the attitude during the course of that week for what was a really young squad was, was commendable. Really enjoyed that. So with a slight tweak in the coaching staff and some younger players getting an opportunity, I thought they did great. The game didn't go as well as we'd hoped. Some parts of the game were pretty good, but we conceded tries way too easily. Really proud of the fight that we showed back end of the game. So. To have let the game get away from us, but still show enough to have an opportunity to, TC misses a penalty, which if that goes over and then we score the try at the end, we've nicked it in the last minute, and so that takes some character and fight, which we're pleased that we showed back end of the game. In terms of reviewing it, the lads it's a funny time of the year where during these autumn internationals, the lads away and they need. We're obliged to give them certain periods of rest, so we've not had all that group in the club last week. So, and then we've come in now. We're preparing to play Exeter with a lot of changes in the squad. So our reviews have been individual. A lot of sitting down with players individually, looking at what they've done in the game, and then we've got Bath again. We've got Bath next week, and we've got to work out the right times of what is appropriate from the Gloucester review to feed into this Exeter game, and what's appropriate to go into the Bath game. So yeah, lots of small conversations with the lads, but that's coaching. That's what we need to do.
Yeah, so that's a very different team going this week. So how have you obviously, I guess you had the same thing the week before Gloucester, was a different team played Leicester, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So how do you balance the things maybe you learn, but the fact that it is a different team as well?
Yeah, we had a focus coming into the block around our lads' ability to step in and step up. So. Whether it's a new opportunity for you to be in a Sharks shirt for the first time, or whether you've had a week off and you need to come back in and play, the club requires that you're able to come in instantly that week and do your best. I think I said the same thing into the Gloucester week. There's some expectations, core expectations of what a training week looks like if you're in a Sharks shirt. So the days and the daily flow is pretty similar. You're just having different roles within that week. So there's some lads who were heavily involved in starting and playing and learning all our stuff for the Gloucester week, who were having to wear Exeter shirts in training, not literally, but when we're running against each other, and that's their role this week, and that's what the team needs to help the 23 who are playing against Exeter to be in the best shape. And they know that a lot of them will come back across to the other side for the Bath week. So being really clear with players around who's in the squad, who's not in the squad, what your focus point is individually, how you get better from your last game, and how you keep pushing the squad forward. So, like I said before, lots of small conversations we've got a big coaching team which allows us to have a lot of conversation with players to be really specific of what the week looks like for them individually.
How have you balanced obviously the Premier starts in 2 weeks? What's been the thinking behind when we go maybe stronger, when we play a younger team, maybe what's been the thinking behind that?
Ideally, this competition would be purely developmental, and we get the young players in there. We've got some great young lads who would love to play together in a Shark kit as much as possible, but the flow of the season doesn't allow you to do that really without not preparing your best players properly. So at some point over this block, we need to have our lads who are typical Premiership players. They have to play, otherwise it's 4 weeks with no rugby at all, and then there you go, you've got to go and play a Premiership game. You can't prepare your lads well at all like that. So the fixture calendar itself dictates, well, at some point in these next 2 games, our more senior players who are not involved in international rugby need to play, and it'll be the same for Exeter and every other club in the league. That doesn't lend itself to a particularly balanced Prem Cup fixture because of the nature of it, but it is what it is. We're going to have a big 11-week block, and it's not just the Prem. We've got Glasgow and we've got Claremont in Europe as well when we get back into it in a long list of games. So we have to have them players ready for the Premiership to go through and through.
And have some of the senior boys, obviously had a couple of weeks off. Have they come back in full of energy, raring to go?
The lads have been great, and they've had different experiences. Some have had proper time off. We've had Rob Napier and Ernie. They've both been away with the Barbarians, so they've had a pretty cool experience as well away. This group's not happy with where we're at. They're desperate to be better. The same with the coaching group. So the energy around this group, without our internationals in the building, is is great. The lads are they're focused and they want to get better. We've got some good professionals.
Let's talk about the internationals. Obviously, a big weekend at Twickenham as well. 4 of our boys involved. Does that give the whole squad a lift when you see boys getting rewarded for a sail form with England call-ups?
Fiji or New Zealand?
New Zealand.
Yeah, no, it's pretty cool, isn't it? And Byron to be coaching that. And, the lads love it. We're so proud of any of our own boys. When they're playing for England and all the boys are watching, the boys are talking about it, and coaches have been messaging each other around what's going on with the internationals. We love it. That's the aspiration. We want the best players in England to be here playing for Sale Sharks and winning stuff for us and winning stuff for England, and that's what that's why we're all here. We want to be part of that. So,
and really it gives, I imagine, it gives the whole squad, look ahead to when they come back into this building. I imagine if they come back having had a really great autumn, full of confidence, that'll give everyone a big lift as well.
Yeah, it will give a lift. But our challenge is to make sure when those England players come back in, they're impressed by our standards. So if we're just relying on Fordy and Roebuck, Asher, and Tom and Raf to be coming back in and they give the energy, then we're nowhere near where we need to be. They need to come back in and want to catch up and be like, oh, okay, we've tweaked this, we've improved this. I like what that looks like, and we've got a responsibility to be elevating our game without them in the building too.
We're at the start of a really, really busy period, aren't we now? The Prem starts in 2 weeks, as we've said. Then we're into Champions Cup, into the Christmas period. Just gets more and more exciting, but busier and busier from here. How are you feeling about this period? Like how what are the kind of big things that we're working on and wanting to see in this period?
Trade secrets. We've just had a 2.5 hour, like I said, 2.5 hour coaching meeting around how we're getting better and reflections on our first block of games and how we're gonna work together to be the best team we possibly can be with our collaboration with the players and us together as coaches. In terms of our focus, it's really nailing what that DNA of our team looks like. So what our game model looks like on the pitch, how consistent we can be. There's clear areas for improvement in terms of our discipline and away form, which we're obviously working on. We want to be better at, and the challenges turn up every single weekend, don't they, in this 11 block? And we'll do our best to keep moving forward in every area. You can never just be happy with one thing. Even the stuff you're best at, you've still got to keep improving. So every day just getting better.
And I guess winning breeds winning, doesn't it? And breeds confidence as well. So this weekend, I imagine, massively important for how we go into the rest of the block.
Yeah, well, we had a young team against Gloucester, but we lost at home. And so make no bones about that. Was nobody happy that we lose a home game, like regardless of what team we put out and how strong anybody else is. And it'll be the same for Exeter. We expect that they're going to bring a strong squad up here, but we don't expect to be losing games at home, and that's a challenge every single time you step out at our stadium at home. So winning's important, performance is important, and it all is. It certainly breeds momentum.